The original Wembley Stadium, the home of English football for 77 years, where Chelsea played their part in many memorable moments. Chelsea's first visit to Wembley was in 1944. The FA Cup had been cancelled during the Second World War, so the Football League War Cup took its place. Chelsea lost 3-1 to Charlton in the South final. A year later, Billy Birrell's boys faced Millwall in front of 90,000 fans, including King George VI and his daughter, the future Queen Elizabeth II, attending her first club football match. Oddly, Chelsea wore red for the game, which they won 2-0, with goals from George Wardle and John McDonald. But the Blues' next trip to Wembley would not be for another 22 years. They frequently came close, though. In the 1950 FA Cup semi-final held at White Hart Lane, Chelsea went 2-0 up against Arsenal, courtesy of a Roy Bentley brace. They were pegged back to 2-2, however, and taken to a replay, which they lost 1-0. In 1952, they suffered the same fate at the same venue against the same team, drawing 1-1 and losing the replay 3-0. Chelsea won the League Cup in 1965, but the final against Leicester City was played home and away over 2 legs rather than at Wembley. That same season, they lost another FA Cup semi-final, this time against Liverpool at Villa Park. They avenged that defeat the following campaign, winning 2-1 at Anfield in the third round, but there was more semi-final heartache for Tommy Docherty's team as Sheffield Wednesday beat them 2-0, once again at Villa Park. There were fears that the Birmingham ground was becoming an unlucky omen for Chelsea, who returned there in 1967 for a third consecutive FA Cup semi-final. But this time, against Leeds United, Docherty's Diamonds were victorious. Tony Hateley, ironically a signing from Aston Villa, scored the only goal of the game to ensure a long-awaited return to the venue of legends. Tottenham Hotspur were the opponents in the first FA Cup final to be contested between 2 London teams. Jimmy Robertson and Frank Saul made it 2-0 to a Spurs side featuring former Chelsea players Jimmy Greaves and Terry Venables. Bobby Tambling scored a consolation goal in the closing stages of a disappointing match.
For us as a team, it was a nightmare because we never done ourselves justice. And personally, it was a nightmare because I just didn't play. Period, really. In the end, I finished chasing Joe Kinnear, who should have been marking me. I finished chasing him around the pitch.
It's a poor game. I'm not being disrespectful to Tottenham or ourselves, but you never have a good final, I don't think, with 2 southern teams or 2 northern teams. I think you've always got to have that northern-south divide. It gives a bit of nettle to the whole situation. And I just felt I was very disappointed for the club, for the chairman, the board, and the supporters more so. I felt, well, with a bit of luck, we could have won 3 finals. We could have won 3 cups: 64, 65, 65, 66, 66, 67.
The defeat proved the last competitive match of the Docherty era. An ill-fated tour of the Americas brought an end to his reign, and Dave Sexton took over. 3 years later, the Blues were back at Wembley. They faced Leeds United in one of the greatest ever FA Cup finals.
So the final of 1970 is underway. With a shot, oh good work there by Bonetti. A save towards Jack Charlton. Kick, no, it's a goal! To Osgood with a shot. with a shot. And a goal! Oh, a terrible mistake there by Spring. Jones. There's a good run here by Giles as well. Got it in first time towards Clark. Against the post. How unlucky can you get? Jones, a goal! Big Jones, 2-1. Still Remy looking at that watch. Hollins to curl it in again. Hutchinson! A goal by Ian Hutchinson! Giles all over the bar by Webb. Good cross there by McCready. And now Dempsey just over! The FA Cup needs a replay. And now for the first time tonight, the crowd gets a sight of their heroes.
The replay took place at Old Trafford, the only time between 1923 and 2000 that an FA Cup final was played at a stadium other than Wembley. The match was watched by a television audience of 28 million, a record for an FA Cup final, and it became one of the most notorious clashes in English football for the ferocity with which it was contested, even exceeding the previous brutal game at Wembley.
By Jones, and he's still going on for Jones, a goal! Takes it up. Osgood's got on his run. There's the ball coming in. Osgood! A wonderful goal! It's a good long one. And run again towards David Webb! And Chelsea are in the lead! For the long throw of Ian Hutchinson. It was touched on and the big defender David Webb. And there goes the final whistle. And Chelsea have won the cup.
You know, your first sort of cup final there, it's awesome, 100,000 as it was in them days. You know, it was just a fantastic time, you know, just to walk out there and to know that your mum and dad's in the crowd and your family. Brilliant.
I always thought even at Wembley, you know, I just felt if they'd gone on and we was all going down big cramp and all sorts, but we could have all gone on. I just felt that we had that thing in us, and to be fair, Dave Sexton instilled it in us. We never rolled over, we never capitulated in any game. Teams who beat Chelsea had to beat them. Not many times did we lose the game. Teams had to beat us.
The replay was an epic, it was an absolute battle, it really was, and there was so much bad feeling between the two sides. And again, we just had to outback them, and every time they tried something, you know, our boys would come back at them. And I remember like Chopper kicking Eddie Gray after 5 minutes because he swapped him over, and Davey Webb went to centre half, and instead of playing right back, and Chopper always says he won the FA Cup, not me, for scoring every round, because he took Eddie Gray out, and he did big time. I remember Terry Cooper standing there with his shorts and saying to the ref, look at this, and they were ripped right down the side, and Chopper had done him again. And Eddie McCready kicking Bremner in the head in the box, it's awesome. I mean, you just couldn't believe it today, what the referee never even gave a free kick or a card or anything.
Chelsea's first FA Cup triumph provided the opportunity to compete in Europe, and they won the Cup Winners' Cup against Real Madrid the following season. In 1972, Chelsea were on their way to Wembley again.
He's got it in, and it's given. Yes, Garland! His first goal for Chelsea. A penalty. John Hollins to take it. 4.5 minutes left. 2 goals each. 3-2.
That victory over Spurs set up a League Cup final against Stoke City. With Gordon Banks in goal, the Potters produced a shock 2-1 win. And it would be another 14 years before Chelsea would return to the Twin Towers. (1985). In the fifth round of the Milk Cup, Chelsea came from 3-0 down to draw 4-4 against Sheffield Wednesday. They won the replay 2-1 to reach the semi-finals, where they faced a Sunderland side inspired by Chelsea old boy Clive Walker. Chelsea lost over 2 legs in a tie full of surprises.
Odd, strange, sad. I scored in the last minute, I think, but I think there was 2 horses on the field at the time, 50 policemen and about 500 supporters. So it was a kind of surreal experience, and a really sad one really, because we were far better and we should have got into a cup final. And that side I played to was a decent enough side. I think we didn't really get to any major finals, and that was a big disappointment. I mean, if I look back at my Chelsea career for 5 years there, that's the thing I'm disappointed in more than anything else, that we didn't bring silverware, because it'd been a long wait and continued to be a long way after that.
The wait for Wembley finally ended in 1986. Chelsea reached the first final of the full Members' Cup, which was created when English clubs were banned from European competition following the 1985 Heysel Stadium disaster.
Nevin drills it across and Speedy gets the equaliser. Speedy good in the air again, and Wilson slip, punched it in with a chance. It came off the goalkeeper's legs. Spackman again. Lee, yes! Oh, he's delighted with it. Ball going right through here until young Redmond does well to work it away. But still Chelsea in possession with McAllister, looking for Nevin, far side, away, not very far, another chance for Speedy! David Speedy's got his second goal. Darren Wood waiting for some colleagues to get inside the penalty area. One of them, though, is Lee, who's there now. The fall for Nevin here. Nevin so skillful on the ball and gets round Reed, it might go in. The congratulations go, first of all, to Pat Nevin for the cross, and then to the hat-trick man, David Speedy, for the goal. Oh, they've given the ball away again. Lee will try one, and he's hit it well! Oh, he's hit it magnificently! And Lillis, of the area, asking Simpson to conjure something up here for City, and he might do it for Lillis. He has. Well, a great moment for Mark Lillis. It's a lovely ball from now back to Simpson. Simpson taking a little bit too long. Oh, brilliantly done though, and a real chance for another one, and it is. It's there again. It's 5-3, and that went in, I'm pretty sure, off the poor old Chelsea defender who's lying prostrate on the ground, Doug Rugby. Well, this is a quite astonishing end. If they were to score again here, we really would have a fantastic finish. And is he brought down? He hit, it's a penalty. Well, this is quite astonishing. Andy May wriggled his way into the penalty area and was brought down, and Manchester City, who were 5-1 down with 6 minutes to go, now have the chance of making it 5-4. Mark Lillis, yes!
Just to play there is an honour. You know, everybody wants to play. You know, as a kid, your dream was to play at Wembley, or you know, for your country, or you know, to play in a cup final. And to actually get there and actually score a hat-trick was a major day.
There would be a return to Wembley 4 years later in the same competition, this time rebranded as the ZDS Cup. Chelsea were victorious again. Tony Dorigo's unstoppable free kick, the only goal of the game against second division Middlesbrough.
It's Dorigo. Oh, it's a goal! Pear's got a hand to it, but he couldn't keep it out. And Tony Dorigo has blasted Chelsea into the lead. Dorigo struck it well. Big broad grin from Peter Nicholas, and he holds aloft the Zenith Cup. Peter Nicholas, the captain of Chelsea.
The next journey to the Twin Towers was in 1994, when the FA Cup semi-finals were played at Wembley. Glenn Hoddle's Chelsea took on David Pleat's Luton Town, and the Hatters had a familiar face up front.
That's forward by Harper Dixon. Curran had to be quick. There were others for Chelsea not quite so alert there, and they should be. They know about Dixon. Cascarino. Oh, it comes for Peacock. Chelsea are in front. Their first real attack. A goal after 13 minutes.
Well, it is the first attack. The long free kick and the threat of Cascarino. He wins the header. There's a little touch on there, and who do you expect to be in there?
Flicked on by Cascarino. Peacock for Spencer. For Peacock. Is it two? Brilliantly taken. Gavin Peacock has done it again.
That's what we mean, Martin. Seconds after I mention the word bits, what does Gavin Peacock go and do? Cascarino flicks it on. This is what you have to battle for. This is the bits. That's what I'm talking about. It's Peacock that made it his.
The tie ended 2-0 as Chelsea made it to their first FA Cup final in 24 years. However, the game will be remembered by many for the fitting tribute to a true Chelsea legend.
I had 9 great years at Chelsea. The fans were always been brilliant to me, and you know, it really was a wonderful reception, and it made it the most emotional football day of my life, and something I'll never forget. Chelsea fans made it an extra special day. The way they applauded me and the reception they gave me after the game was fantastic. The greatest day, most emotional day in terms of support and a show of appreciation from the Chelsea fans, and it will long live in the memory.
Chelsea finished 14th that season, while their opponents in the FA Cup final, Manchester United, had just been crowned Premier League champions. But the Blues were arguably the better team in the first half at Wembley and came closest to scoring through Gavin Peacock's ambitious volley. In the second half, though, United scored 4 goals without reply.
I really disliked that day. There was so important times in that game when certain things would have changed if onlys, but if onlys is not good enough. We lost 4-0. We lost to a Man United team that was a lot better than us, and that was it really.
United beat Chelsea again in the 1996 FA Cup semi-final, but the following year the Blues made it all the way to Wembley. Their opponents were Middlesbrough in their first FA Cup final. It was to prove a memorable occasion.
Get us underway. Di Matteo. And a goal! Oh, fantastic start. Roberto Di Matteo. So Ravanelli being helped away. All eyes was Gianfranco Zola. He is now to whip it in, and Roberts to palm it away. Sinister. Best on! The whistle's gone, it won't count. This is Petrescu, and Zola, it's in! Eddie Newton last. Their 26-year wait for a major trophy is over. Dream finale to Ruud Gullit's first season as manager, as he becomes the first foreign coach to win a major English trophy.
Chelsea's Dutch boss Ruud Gullit became the first overseas manager to win a major trophy with an English club.
Everybody was talking about the FA Cup, what it means for people who live it, and I didn't know. And till the moment that I had to enter Wembley Stadium, to go on the pitch with the opposition, and then I was like, now I know what it's all about. And it was one of the best days of my life.
I was never expecting to score, but it didn't really matter who did it, who scored. It was just a matter of the team winning and the club winning the first trophy after so many years.
They asked me so many times what was the best moment, and I kept saying that, you know, winning the first FA Cup ball, you know, the day after the winning the cup, going on the Fulham Road with all the crowd, and that was amazing.
FA Cup success meant the next season would open with the Charity Shield at Wembley against familiar foes Manchester United.
Wise. Good work from Zola. And this is Granville, onside. Poyet's in the middle, but Pallister gets there before him, and he had to for Manchester United.
Big chance for Chelsea, round the back, whips it in, but Pallister doing his job.
In comes the whipped-in corner. Hughes! Mark Hughes does it against Manchester United in the 8th minute of the second half. A splendid set piece if you're a Chelsea fan, but Alex Ferguson will be furious with his side's defending.
Well, my first impression here is Peter Schmeichel. I'd like to see it again, but I think this ball whips in and beats Schmeichel. Hughes looking at the far post from perhaps 2 yards out. Schmeichel back on his heels is too late. I think the keeper can come for that. And Hughes, great finish from Mark Hughes against his old club.
That's Johnson! Another corner, an equaliser for Manchester United, and Ronnie Johnson has brought them level at Wembley.
It remained 1-1 after 90 minutes, so the match would be decided from the penalty spot.
Sinclair to take on Schmeichel, and the might of the Manchester United fans. And Schmeichel has saved it. First blood to the champions. Here goes Scholes, and Manchester United lead by 1 penalty to 0. Zola scores. Nothing wrong with his penalty. And that one is right in the bottom corner beyond De Goey's dive. 2-1 to Manchester United. Di Matteo, who found this particular net in such startling fashion at the start of the cup final, doesn't find it this time. So more responsibility for Manchester United's new captain, Roy Keane, to keep Chelsea on the wrong end of things here. Leboeuf showed himself to be a very capable penalty taker. All these moves were illegal before July the 1st, but Schmeichel quite entitled to do that now. Put this away, and the Charity Shield stays with Manchester United.
Although the season started with disappointment, Chelsea went on to win the European Cup Winners' Cup and reach another Wembley final, facing Middlesbrough again, this time in the Coca-Cola Cup.
Merson played it in behind him. Here's Sinclair. Zola in space, wants it early. Dennis Wise. Still got his cross in. It's a goal. Sinclair has scored for Chelsea.
Gascoigne and Merson don't get it right, and suddenly they spring, and this is a magnificent cross. I half thought this has gone out, but he digs it out, he digs it deep, he heads it down and firm, bounces before the keeper. That's what makes it difficult, that it's got the power.
Oh, what a ball that was. Zola to Wise and on to Flo.
Good stop, big man, good stop. That could easily have been game, set and match. And this is where this guy's so good at. We talked about him being good on the ground. Goes at the defenders. Great feet. Good goalkeeping. Made himself big Swatzer. Wasn't an awful lot on the target for Flo to aim at.
He's done nothing wrong today, that's for sure. Put this team in it with that first half save from Hughes. But he's in trouble here! Tavares steps in and maybe clinches victory for Chelsea. 2-0. It took him 43 seconds in the FA Cup final. A little longer this time, but just as important.
Well, this is probably one of the poorest corners out. Robbie Mustoe, look at the slip on the near post. He just loses his footing just as he's going to head this ball. Watch Mustoe, there he goes, and he misses the ball. Di Matteo cannot believe his good fortune.
And there it is. The Home Secretary, the Right Honourable Jim Strawn MP, and Mr. Chris Banks, the region manager of Coca-Cola Great Britain, making the presentation.
I lifted the trophy, and it was very nice of Dennis Wise and Stephen Clark, the captain and the vice-captain, to allow me to be the first one to walk up the steps at Wembley and lift the club. It meant a lot to me. I think that they just appreciated the fact that instead of picking myself in the side, I decided to just watch the game from the bench, and as a kind of reward, they actually asked me to do that. And from when you've got that kind of gesture from your own players, I was touched.
We won the League Cup, and it was where I remember, I think Gazza coming on. I think he smashed Eddie Newton. He really did smash him one, and he was only on a minute. And I think he didn't want him coming on and thinking that obviously he was going to try and change everything. So I think I'd done an awful tackle on him, and he was standing there and he just could not believe it, I don't think. It was only because obviously he'd smashed Eddie right in the face with his arm, and it was just, that was a funny part of the game that I remember. And then obviously I remember Frank Sinclair's goal. It was a headed goal, and it was a good goal, to be honest. It was a good header. I think I crossed it, and we went on to win it. And it was a time when we felt confident about winning things, and we were going through a good spell, and we looked strong.
The Chelsea faithful were by now getting used to trips to the Twin Towers, but the end of an era was approaching. In 2000, both the semi-finals and the final of the FA Cup were played at the original Wembley Stadium for the last time before reconstruction work began. The Blues had scored 15 goals in 4 rounds, but their opponents in the semi-final were Bobby Robson's Newcastle, who'd been finalists in the previous 2 seasons.
Poyet, Sutton, Weah, Poyet on the burst! A goal for Chelsea! And Gus Poyet has scored against Newcastle, as he did to win a Premiership match last month. What will it mean here at Wembley today?
Well, it's a quick free kick, Martin. They're so alive to it, and they really do combine brilliantly, this trio. Poyet to Sutton to Weah, back to Poyet's run, and what a finish. That's why he's in the team. That's why he'd been most teams that have picked. Look at that, there's a free kick. Dennis Wise very quickly picks him out, and watch this, it's just 3 people touch this ball. No one picks up the run. Oh, that's a brilliant goal and a brilliant finish. He knows it.
Newcastle gathering for the cross. Speed. Dyer! And a bit of a storm for Chelsea to weather up, but they've weathered it so far. It's Shearer against Leboeuf. And Alan Shearer gets the better of the Frenchman and delivers the cross. Well, that is Robert Lee flying in. Shearer supplied it. Lee has equalised. It's been on the cards. It's thoroughly deserved. Speed. Shearer. Oh, that was a handball they were appealing against Leboeuf.
Well, what they have to be careful with all the pressure and all the forward running that they've got, they don't concede and get caught short at the back. They've worked ever so hard to get themselves back in the game.
Harley. 4 in the centre for Chelsea. Oh, they are back in the game. It's Gus Poyet for a second time at Wembley. Chelsea lead 2-1.
Yeah, they felt wronged moments ago. But how often is this guy going to pop up with important goals? There's a lovely ball in from Harley. 8 yards, 7 yards out. What a magnificent header this is. In amongst traffic, but kept his composure. Quite a magnificent header.
Well, it could be a shattering moment for Newcastle. It's celebrations for Chelsea. It's a scintillating FA Cup semi-final at Wembley.
There's a whistle somewhere, but not on the pitch.
There is now. Chelsea will come back here on May the 20th. 2 goals from Gus Poyet. Bobby Robson's team had the answer to the first through Rob Lee, but not to the second.
I'm telling you, it's very special for a foreign player, I suppose for an English as well, to play at Wembley, because when you are abroad, the only thing that you know or you expect to be there is at Wembley. So it was a semi-final. I didn't know why we were playing there, and I had the chance to score.
Poyet's brace took Chelsea to their second FA Cup final in just 4 years. It was to be the last major final to take place at the original Wembley before the ageing stadium, built in 1923, was laid to rest, and the 7 years of work to bring it into the modern era would begin.
Zola, good link-up play here from Chelsea. George Weah! It almost skimmed the upright from Weah. Suddenly Chelsea broke, and suddenly Aston Villa were opened up.
A delightful ball there from Zola. He hits it first time on the turn. I think David James possibly had it covered, but a lovely layoff from Zola. George Weah thought nothing better than to hit that.
Here's Frank Leboeuf. Out by Southgate, in goes Leboeuf again, and then Di Matteo! The keeper lost it and it's squeezed in by Dennis Wise! No, it's been given as a free kick. The flag was up, Wise went in with his boot raised, and the goal has been chalked off.
I think you'll see there when the ball was knocked in, as this shot comes in. Over on that far side, George Weah, I think it is just in an offside position.
And he's turned Ian Taylor, who did well to get back at it, but actually caught him in the process. So it will be a free kick to Chelsea. Maybe a little unlucky, that Taylor.
It's a wonderful little trick there, isn't it? Certainly full tail, then Taylor's all arms and legs over him. And certainly quite right, a free kick.
Yeah, it was ungamely. Gianfranco Zola. James lost it and it's in! No. Or is it? It has been given. And Chelsea have gone in front. For a moment I thought there Graham Poll had turned it down again. But it was stopped into the back of the net. And it was Di Matteo.
Yes, James coming in amongst bodies there. Dropped it again, unfortunately. And there was Di Matteo. No chance for James this. I think he sort of got in between whether he was going to catch it or whether he was going to punch it.
And the first FA Cup final of the new millennium, and the last here at Wembley, has been won by Chelsea. Roberto Di Matteo. Well, it won't go down as the best goal you'll ever see at Wembley, but it's such an important one for him and his team.
The FA Cup goes to Chelsea. The new millennium has begun in a sea of blue at Wembley for Chelsea Football Club. Knowing unprecedented success at the moment, it's all about winning trophies, and Gianluca Vialli's team has won the FA Cup for the third time in its history.
I think that's the most memorable time of my career. I think you know, it was a off-the-cuff thing, and you know, after the game I said to Robbie, go and get the kids, let's take them all up. You know, and obviously Gus took his kids up, Frank Leboeuf took his kids up. Gianfranco unfortunately couldn't find his kids, so he couldn't take them up, he never found them till after. And I took little Henry up, and it was lovely. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We took a little bit of stick for doing it off the FA and a few other people, but who cares? I don't care. It's the last game. It was the last game at Wembley. He'll enjoy it for the rest of his life. I've got a lovely photo of me and him at home holding the FA Cup, which is something that I can treasure.
Chelsea will always be the last team to win the FA Cup at the old Wembley, but there was still a Charity Shield match to be played there in August against old rivals and Premier League champions Manchester United.
And here's Giggs. Balls between Solskjaer and Sheringham. Poyet heads on, and Hasselbank. Well, Yapstam took a bit of pace off the shot, but it found its way past Fabien Barthez, and Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank has given Chelsea an advantage that they thoroughly deserve in the Charity Shield. Well, he moved his way across the line of Yapstam, I thought cleverly, to draw the foul then, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Yeah, all good stuff. Absolutely right. He goes across the defender here. Yapstam arms up, saying no contact.
Now it's Keane, and I think that might be too much for Mike Riley, who was tried to keep the cards away from view. Oh, he sent Keane off. Roy Keane, red-carded in the Charity Shield. Melchiot. It's 2-0, and it's Mario Melchiot with 18 minutes to go. Low past Barthez. That's a walk that Dennis Wise knows so well as a winning Chelsea captain here. And the South has beaten North. Blue has beaten red, and the FA Cup winners have defeated the champions for the Charity Shield.
So Chelsea enjoyed 8 Wembley victories out of 14 memorable appearances as the stadium closed its doors on football. 7 years later, the new Wembley opened in time for the 2007 FA Cup final, which, of course, Chelsea won to start a new era of glorious Wembley memories.